the Association for International Sport for All, TAPISA, y IOC World Conference on Sport for All, les da la bienvenida y agradecen su asistencia el día de hoy. A continuación, iniciaremos con el panel de bienvenida. Invitamos al señor Rodolfo Galgoni, vicepresidente de TAPISA Argentina, para darnos las palabras de bienvenida.
Bueno, me escuchan igual, ¿sí? ¿Ahí es mejor? Ahí está mejor. Ante todo, muchas gracias por estar aquí. Realmente un pueblo hermano, vecino y amigo siempre, menos en el fútbol, todo lo demás somos amigos. Pero no, realmente queríamos traer nuestra experiencia de toda la actividad que hemos desarrollado por más de 30 años en el deporte para todos en el mundo, cosas que ustedes sin duda están haciendo, pero queremos que Perú se junte a lo que es el movimiento mundial. TAPISA tiene actualmente más de 130 miembros de países que nos junta para desarrollar programas, que nos enseña a escuchar a los otros países con sus programas y podemos capacitarnos y trabajar en conjunto. Y para eso estamos acá, para comentarles cosas que hacemos. En el caso mío, en Argentina, cuando me tocó ser secretario de Deporte, desarrollamos 17 programas diferentes que tienen que ver con la obesidad, que tienen que ver con adultos mayores, con la discapacidad, con una serie de actividades que realmente hoy es el futuro más que el alto nivel. El alto nivel es solo para algunos pocos, muy pocos, uno cada 1000 de los profes llegan a trabajar en esto y sí pueden trabajar en el deporte para todos. Entonces los invitamos a todos a que puedan escuchar después las exposiciones de las actividades que TAPISA realiza en el mundo. También quería comentarles a la tarde lo que ha sido el club con la Universidad del Deporte dentro del club River Plate de fútbol, que realmente es un orgullo para nosotros haber iniciado este movimiento. Gracias otra vez por estar aquí, gracias a todas las autoridades por dedicarse a algo que a veces no es tan vendible como el fútbol profesional, pero que es el futuro sin duda. Muchas gracias y vamos a estar hablando de todo esto estos días.
Muchas gracias, señor Galgoni. Invitamos ahora al señor Guillermo Quiroga Percival, director de la Escuela de Postgrado de la UPC.
Tengan todos muy buenos días, sientan esta como su casa y la verdad que es un honor y un orgullo tenerlos ustedes presentes aquí, tan distinguidos, visitantes y alumnos del programa Master que vuelven a su casa. Como decía, es un honor tener a tan distinguidos invitados y participantes, pero sobre todo es un gusto que se toque un tema tan trascendental como es ese concepto de deporte para todos, digamos. La Universidad, la UPC, por el Postgrado, pues se caracteriza por ser innovadora y tenemos esa convicción de profesionalizar determinadas áreas de la actividad humana, de proporcionar las herramientas de gestión humana, de ser más exitosas, aplicadas en esos ámbitos en los cuales se puede hacer un cambio mejor. Lo conversaba con uno de ustedes al inicio, que la verdad es que el deporte realmente es una actividad vital para el ser humano. Es una actividad, el deporte, que lo hace feliz, independientemente de las condiciones económicas, sociales, y qué mejor que se pueda promover el deporte de una manera integral, de una manera cabal, de una manera que lleve alegría a la sociedad. Termino estas palabras introductorias dándoles la más cordial bienvenida, felicitando a todos los organizadores de este evento por esta importante iniciativa y los animo a que todos los que trabajen, discutan, aprendan que realmente lo pongan por tengan voluntad.
Muchas gracias, señor Quiroga. Invitamos ahora al señor Francisco Boza, presidente del Instituto Peruano del Deporte.
Buenos días. Miren lo que hace el deporte. Federación Internacional, Argentina, AFISA, la Universidad, una empresa privada, el Comité Olímpico Peruano, con los valores olímpicos y la parte del Estado y todos ustedes que tenemos que ver la importancia que es el deporte en la sociedad, la importancia que es la actividad física para el ser humano. Hace 3 años hubo un foro mundial en Finlandia donde el Perú era subcampeón. Estábamos en el penúltimo lugar de actividad física en un estudio hecho por la Organización Mundial de la Salud. Eso nos da un potencial enorme como país, una oportunidad que la tarea de generar actividad física en la sociedad es de todos nosotros. No es solo el rol del Estado, es el rol de empresas privadas, el rol de las instituciones, el rol sobre todo de la mujer. La mujer es la que tiene el ama de casa y la que alrededor de ella está la familia. Es un rol de cada uno de nosotros. Y como decía, el deporte mueve montañas. En el deporte, en la competencia, no hay religiones, no hay idiomas, no hay credos, no hay razas. El potencial y la oportunidad que genera de la amistad y de las sinergias que puede generar el deporte. Yo agradezco, felicito a la UPC por fomentar, darle las posibilidades a la FISA de tener este foro el día de hoy acá, y de la importancia de este foro mundial, del 15º Foro Mundial de Deporte para Todos, que tenemos la suerte de que se va a desarrollar en nuestro país a partir del día de mañana. 375 personas del mundo entero están viniendo a participar, conocer nuestra realidad. Nosotros con los brazos abiertos para compartir y recibir las enseñanzas de los países que están más avanzados en lo que es deporte para todos. Y el deporte es una herramienta de inclusión competitiva. Con los movimientos del Comité Olímpico liderado por Pepe, hace un año se decidió incluir la fuerza que tiene el deporte como inclusión, desarrollar los deportes tradicionales en la selva peruana, tiro con arco y canotaje. Este fin de semana, después de un plan de trabajo de 9 meses, en noviembre octubre fuimos a dar las canoas a Haití, a Ucayali, a Loreto y Puerto Maldonado. Tenemos ya una medalla sudamericana. Gente que transforma tradicional, se mueve en canotaje, gente de nuestra Amazonía que caza con tiro con arco. Y ahora le estás dando una posibilidad de que aparte de que puedan hacerlo con un modo viviendo, representen a tu país. El potencial que hay en el deporte es inmenso. No hay barreras, no hay límites, y como decía, hace al ser humano feliz. Y aparte de hacerlo feliz, lo forma con valores y principios. Hagamos todos juntos la tarea que tenemos que hacer para transformar este país en un país lleno de felicidad y sobre todo de trabajar en equipo para llevar a todos los programas que haremos. Gracias por la oportunidad de poder estar acá antes.
Muchas gracias, señor Boza. Agradecemos a los representantes del Comité de Bienvenida y los invitamos a tomar asiento para comenzar con las ponencias. Para dar inicio a las ponencias de esta mañana, a continuación invitamos al señor José Quiñones, presidente del Comité Olímpico Peruano, que nos expondrá desarrollo de deportes étnicos en la selva amazónica, contribución de juegos tradicionales.
Queridos amigos, queridos miembros de la mesa de honor que me presidieron el uso de la palabra, es un gusto y un honor estar el día de hoy ante ustedes compartiendo lo que debe ser la misión de todos, llevar la actividad física a nivel de toda la humanidad. Ya hace más de 120 años, Pierre de Coubertin, el fundador del movimiento olímpico moderno, estableció una frase que hoy en día diferentes estudios han determinado como cierta. De cada 100 personas que involucremos en la actividad física, 20 llegarán al deporte. De esos 20, 2 o 3 podrán llegar a hacer cosas increíbles en el mundo olímpico. Pero desde ya Pierre de Coubertin establecía lo que hoy en día los expertos hablan de la pirámide. Pero no la pensaba, ojo, para tratar de obtener las medallas, sino que hablaba por el contrario, que lo bueno de la medalla era que eso te obligaba a tener una pirámide antes. O sea, Pierre de Coubertin jamás olvidó que la verdadera razón del deporte es lo que él siempre dijo: el ser humano formado física, intelectual y espiritualmente es un ser humano que trasciende y no puede ser oprimido, y evitará las guerras y formar una sociedad mejor. Entonces, desde su nacimiento, el movimiento olímpico, con su máxima expresión en los Juegos Olímpicos, ha estado vinculado con la masificación no solamente del deporte, sino de la actividad física. Hoy en día, cuando se establecen ya cifras del mínimo de minutos al día que debe haber actividad física en la vida de un ser humano, eso nos indica que la verdadera medalla se logra cuando se va en contra del sedentarismo. La verdadera medalla es cuando conquistas tu propia salud a través de la actividad física. Pero, nuevamente, el deporte es el motor que jala un poco como ejemplo. Aquí, por ejemplo, cuando Sofía Mulanovic ganó el Campeonato del Mundo de Surf, 100.000 peruanos salieron a hacer surf de la noche a la mañana. Y bueno, Kino Partida ganó el campeonato y no hubieron 100.000 boxeadoras, pero sí hubo una buena cantidad de boxeadoras peruanas. Y seguramente por cada Messi o por cada Maradona en Argentina hay una nueva camada de futbolistas. Y así sucesivamente. Y claro, en el camino se van quedando, como decía Pierre de Coubertin, los que se quedan en la actividad física y van subiéndose el deporte. Finalmente, es parte de la vida. Pero lo que buscamos todos, el movimiento olímpico, Tafiza, el mundo, es la salud de nuestra sociedad. Y la salud de la sociedad impone, así como una alimentación determinada, impone una actividad física determinada. Pero nuevamente, el deporte, que es el motor, a veces nos aleja de la actividad física. Y le explico por qué. Yo siempre bromeo diciendo que si Pierre de Coubertin hubiera sido peruano, los deportes olímpicos hubieran sido otros. Nosotros, los países que no vimos nacer el deporte en nuestras costas, hemos recibido muchas veces la influencia de deportes que son ajenos a nuestra realidad. Aquí nuestro amigo Duarte fue el último equipo de básquet de gran altura, en todo sentido de la palabra, no solamente en tamaño, sino en calidad, en el 64 en Tokio. ¿Cómo puede ser que 50 años después el promedio de tamaño sea menor, y en calidad también, por cierto? Entonces, ¿qué significa? Tuvimos un hipo, y de ahí encontramos lo que es el biotipo normal del país. No es cuestión de practicar cualquier deporte, hay que identificar qué deporte, qué actividad está al alcance de nuestros niños. Y ahí fuimos a la selva. En la selva peruana, hace algunos años, el IPD repartió módulos deportivos, que eran aro de básquet, aro de fútbol, por ejemplo. Para hacer un campo de fútbol en la selva, en medio de las tribus, hay que destruir el bosque para crear un campo de fútbol. Igual, peor para una cancha de básquet, hay que meter cemento. Yo vengo del remo. Se enviaron botes de remo a la selva porque dijeron: ahí están los lagos y los ríos. No se puede, porque el biotipo no es para un remero, y la complejidad de la medición de los botes y el mantenimiento de los mismos no está al alcance de toda la población selvática. Había ese tipo de confusiones. El proyecto, que comenzamos con la ayuda del Comité Olímpico Internacional, de la Dirección de Cooperación Internacional del COI, manejada por Tomis y Toller, se basó en poner a la población autóctona al alcance de una actividad tradicional que se puede transformar en deporte, pero ya como actividad física es importante. y nos lo aceptaron y dieron un primer fondeo de $53.000, con lo cual fuimos a las comunidades nativas y comenzamos por contratar a las mismas tribus para confeccionar los elementos propios de esa actividad, las canoas y los arcos y flechas. Entonces también se les dio una actividad, por cierto, una canoa de cedro, de caoba, cuesta 450 soles, o sea, $150 en la selva. Ya me la quisiera tener para un escritorio acá que costaría $2.000. Pero compramos las canoas, compramos los arcos, y lo que pasó fue increíble, porque se había degradado el uso de esas actividades también en las tribus. Las canoas ya les ponían motores, nadie cazaba con flecha, y los viejos de las tribus nos decían, entre broma y serio, ya estamos cansados de nuestros niños que ahora están que le disparan flechas a cuanto pollo, mono, gallina y persona atraviesa por la calle. Y empezaban nuevamente a querer dejar de lado los motores y volver a la canoa tradicional. Fue toda una revolución. Le intentamos, comenzamos en Ahuaytía. Los que lo conocen, Ahuaytía está por tierra 3 horas de Pucallpa, que está 1 hora por avión de Lima, o 24 horas por tierra. Ahuaytía, hasta hace 20 años, estaba tomado por la droga, por el narcotráfico y por el terrorismo. Hace algunos años, en 15 años, pusimos un proyecto de pesas ahí que dio un buen resultado y ahora comenzamos este. A 15 minutos de Ahuaytía está Huipoco, que es la base del cuartel de Tijuana en la selva peruana. Imagínense la zona que estamos hablando. Y captamos gente de Ahuaytía alrededor del río, todas las tribus, y empezamos a jalar gente. Y en Puerto Maldonado, que es capital de la región Madre de Dios, es una ciudad pequeña, pero que está en un problema de agresión cultural inmenso, porque por un lado es el principal productor de oro clandestino o ilegal del país, con dragas que contaminan con mercurio toda la zona y destruyen el hábitat de esta gente, y segundo, que la carretera binacional que lo une con Brasil ha traído un problema de drogas, trata de blancas y prostitución infantil como nunca habían imaginado. Entonces teníamos 2 comunidades isoladas, agredidas culturalmente y en las cuales no existía la posibilidad de identificar a la población con una actividad física tradicional. Ahí fue que rescatamos, por lo tanto, el canotaje y el tiro con arco. Y hoy en día pasamos de hacer las canoas tradicionales que están ahí y sirven para captar a los chicos para que practiquen su actividad física tradicional. Tenemos ya canoas de fibra de vidrio compradas en Colombia, con lo cual entrenan ya. Pusimos 2 entrenadores extranjeros, uno en cada ciudad. Enviamos entrenadores peruanos de esas, o sea, profesores de esas zonas a Brasil a capacitarse en canotaje tradicional y en canotaje olímpico. Y finalmente organizamos el primer selectivo nacional que lo hicimos con la gente de la sede. Como decía Pancho hace un momento, nos dieron la grata satisfacción de que un equipo formado íntegramente por chicos y chicas de las tribus de Ahuaytía y Puerto Maldonado lograran varios buenos puestos, 7 cuartos puestos y una medalla de plata que le ganaron 2 hermanos de Puerto Maldonado. Hoy, hasta hace antes los americanos, cuando ya vinieron aquí a Perú, a Lima, ¿no?, y fueron recibidos por el presidente de la República, estos chicos y chicas regresaron a su tierra como héroes. No solamente por representar al país, ganar ese selectivo, sino porque se identificaban con ellos. No era un marciano que venía, era un chico y chica que lo veían al costado de una tribu y que salía a representar la ciudad. Eso está trayendo un efecto que ya no nos damos abasto. Cada día, y hoy por ejemplo, me llaman de Ahuaytía para pedir por favor si podemos comprarle más flechas y más arcos, porque ahora viene ya la etapa del tiro con arco. Ya son miles de niñitos que están practicándolo. Entonces, No hay que imponer soluciones costosas. Hay que identificar. Cuando nosotros remábamos, teníamos un entrenador argentino que nos decía: no peleen contra el bote, sientan al bote, sientan al mar, y el bote les va a dictar lo que tienen que hacer. Es igual en esto. No impongamos soluciones costosas ni deportes estrambóticos. Veamos, leamos qué es lo que esta gente puede hacer, lo que siempre ha hecho, y recojamos ese legado cultural y expongámoslo y ayudémoslo para que surja, reviva y pueda finalmente beneficiar a toda esta sociedad. Hoy nos están llamando de diferentes entidades de lucha contra la droga, de pacificación, para implementar este proyecto en diferentes zonas de la selva. Nos han llamado empresas privadas relacionadas con la cuestión petrolífera para tratar de implantar estos proyectos donde tienen zonas de influencia. ¿Por qué? Porque es algo bueno para la sociedad. ¿Por qué? Porque es algo natural para la sociedad. Ese ejemplo, quiero mostrarles el video que me acaba de enviar la misma gente de Aguaitía, es una producción propia de ellos.
Este país llamado Perú está constituido por 3 ricas regiones como son la costa, sierra y la selva. Se podría decir que cada región tiene una fructífera flora y fauna envidiable. Dentro de ello está la selva, un futuro natural del mundo entero. Realizando sus prácticas con canoas y remos tradicionales. Asimismo, contaban con una tacana de madera. Dicha práctica se llevó a cabo en nuestro malecón turístico de Río Aguaitía, a vista y entusiasmo de la población en general. De esta manera, el señor Pedro Paredes Suta, al ver el entusiasmo de los jóvenes participantes, puso empeño en realizar las respectivas gestiones en las diferentes instituciones públicas y privadas, y así que en ese entonces, contando con el apoyo del presidente del Comité Olímpico Peruano, el señor José Quiñones González, elaboró un proyecto deportivo llamado Fortaleciendo los Valores Olímpicos en la Amazonía Peruana. Es gracias a ese proyecto y en coordinación con el Instituto Peruano del Deporte se hizo realidad la compra de canoas tradicionales de madera, donde actualmente se vienen realizando los diversos concursos en las festividades que realiza la provincia de Padre Abad. Poco a poco, este año, este deporte fue ocupando las expectativas de la población aguaitiana. Es así que en ese entonces, gracias al proyecto mencionado anteriormente, se adquirió las canoas olímpicas, callas olímpicas, material fibra de vidrio. Hoy en día, gracias a la donación de estas canoas, tenemos jóvenes que vienen practicando el deporte del canotaje olímpico. Es así, por primera vez en el año 2012 se participó en los Juegos Bolivarianos de Playa 2012 en la ciudad de Lima por 2 jóvenes deportistas pertenecientes a la ciudad de Aguaitía. Del 19 al 20 de abril del mismo año participaron en el Campeonato Sudamericano desarrollado en el Valparaíso, Chile, logrando representar a Perú, deportistas aguaitianos como representantes capacidades de la selección peruana. Es así que en Haití nació este deporte del canotaje.
Gracias. Quiero agregar que no solamente se incentivó la práctica del canotaje del narco, sino que paralelamente se les dio charlas a los colegios de lo que es valores, lo que es charlas de mujer y deporte, lo que se les implementó un pequeño gimnasio para que puedan trabajar. O sea, la idea no es que, ok, haz canotaje como puedas y ahí acabó, sino conoce por qué el deporte puede tener valor formativo, qué valiosa herramienta de la actividad física y el deporte en la formación del ser humano. Encontraron las señoritas que fueron a hacer los talleres para mujer y deporte, casos tremendos de chicos o chicas que han querido hasta suicidarse por problemas de bullying, las trabas que tiene a veces la sociedad tradicional en esas zonas contra la práctica y la actividad deportiva y la actividad física de la mujer. Todo eso es parte de la campaña que se hizo y que ha durado ya casi 10 meses y que bueno, ahora ya agarró, como decimos en Perú, su propia viada, porque justamente lo que hemos hecho solamente es identificar lo que era natural ahí y llevarlo a otra expresión. Este proyecto ya ahora creció pariquitos. La idea es que ahora vaya hacia el Valle del Brae, que es el valle del narcotráfico, vamos a decir, en el Perú, y que poco a poco vaya permitiendo a niños y niñas y jóvenes de nuestro país a una mejor formación, a una mejor vida, a la inculque valores y finalmente a producir una mejor sociedad para el mundo. Eso es parte de lo que estamos haciendo y desde ya mi agradecimiento por su paciencia, por habernos permitido explicarlo y si hay alguna pregunta quedo totalmente a su disposición. Muchas gracias. ¿No hay preguntas?
Tenemos preguntas entonces. Muchas gracias, señor Inés. Muchas gracias, Virginia. A continuación, invitamos al señor Wolfgang Baumann, de Taquiza, Argentina, Alemania, que nos expondrá Movimiento Global, Deporte para Todos, Nuevos Entendimientos y Aprendizajes.
Buenos días. Guten Morgen, as we say in Germany. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, dear students from not just Lima, but all over the world. For me, it is indeed a great privilege and pleasure to be here today, not just because it is the very first time for me to be in Lima, in Peru, but also because I'm so grateful for UPC, for the Peruana Institute, and for the National Olympic Committee to provide us with this wonderful opportunity to gather today and share some experiences. And I would say, and there can be no doubt, today marks a day that will make Lima, altogether with the coming IOC World Sport for All conference during the next couple of days, to be the world capital of sport for all. I truly believe that Lima, for the next couple of days till Saturday afternoon, will be the focus of the world when it comes to sport for all. And I believe Lima and Peru deserves it. I was extremely impressed by what I saw over the last couple of minutes, and I sincerely hope that there will be an opportunity during the coming Congress by the IOC that we can see the film also during this conference, because as the Chinese people say, one picture can say more than 1,000 words, and this film is a fantastic example for this. I have the pleasure today to give a more global statement and evaluation on where sport for all on a global level stands right now. And it is my intention to talk a little bit about the global Sport for All movement, and also making you all a little bit feel that you are part of this. You are part of this global movement. And within the next couple of minutes, I would just a little bit tackle these various items. Oh, it doesn't work, excuse me. So let me start with giving you an idea about the globalization in Sport for All, and I'm very happy right now to welcome our friend from Greece who has just arrived. Dennis from Athens has come. Thank you. I would believe these are the pictures that the majority of people worldwide associate with sport. And when I had breakfast this morning in my hotel, and I had an English-speaking newspaper, or was it Spanish? The number one news on the front page was about Munich playing Barca this afternoon, and it was about is Pizarro playing. And this gives you an impression that top sport has indeed done its way all around the world. I do quite some traveling, and if I put on the TV set somewhere in the world, you can be sure I can see either Manchester United, Munich, or Juventus Torino. So the world has become one when it comes to sport. And the Olympic movement, one can rightly say, has been the number one and first carrier of globalization, not just in sport, but generally speaking. Olympic Games, starting early last century, made one picture of sport worldwide available. And if you place volleyball in Lima, Frankfurt, or Vancouver, it's the same rules, it's the same concept. So top sport, in a way, has made the world thinking in just one picture. Long time before Lady Gaga or George Clooney came up, the movie industry, the music industry, sport was before. And I tell you a story. My first experience with Peru was not traveling to Peru. I very well remember in the 1970s when you had a great soccer player called Teofilio Cubillas, who played at the 1970 Mexican World Cup against Germany. Germany won 3-1. But this was when I learned about Peru. I looked at the map where Peru is. I was a little boy at that time. But this is also a way how to explain globalization in sport. And these are the pictures, Formula One, Olympic Games, Tour de France, that go all around the world, and we can talk about this. When we have a break, everybody will be able to talk about the coming Champions League game this afternoon, 1:45. I hope I will find a TV set somewhere here when Munich plays Barca. So it also provides topics to talk about worldwide. But what is the situation in Sport for All? And here once again it gives you an idea what we mean when we are talking about globalization. It describes the process by which regional economies, societies and cultures have become integrated through a globe-spanning network of communication and trade. Of course, the new tools of communication we have at our hands make it much easier than 20, 30, 50 years ago to globalize a phenomenon like sport. But in Sport for All, and that's why I'm saying you are also a member of this global Sport for All movement. For example, it started with Jane Fonda already in the 70s, when she invented this sort of aerobic, which is now all over the place with many different new types and names. We have Nordic walking, for example. Last night, very close to the airport, I saw some Peruvian people doing Nordic walking, which is crazy. If I look at Jorma Savola from Finland, he knows how to use poles. Suddenly we are using them in the summer with the climate of Peru, but it also reflects on the fact that the first wave of globalization was in top sports. Now we even have a second wave of globalization in sport for all. And this is due to our work, this is due to a conference that is going to start during the next days. What is the vision behind sport for all? I guess those of us, and I guess this is everybody who is here in this auditorium, needs some sort of a vision. We don't have gold medals, we don't have tournaments, championships. We are striving for getting as many people as possible physical active or involved in sport for all. It will definitely never be 100%. It will never happen. But I believe we need this vision, this utopia, that we should go for the 100%. It is a synonym of hope, not of reality. But it helps us to be motivated, to come forward, to do our job, and maybe at the very end of the day, we will be able for a partial realization. And that's why I would like to say, today, if we are very realistic, sport is not for all, but it is for more people than ever. And for this goal, we all should go. We will never make the 100%, but maybe 30, 40, 50% different from countries to countries. By the way, I don't believe Finland that they have 80% participation in sport for all. This is a myth. This is a fake. I don't believe it. But anyway, we are doing well, and we should go for this goal, which also helps to make our world a little bit a better place. When it comes to a sort of definition, it's also rather simple. Basically, our job is to provide a systematic of programs, of opportunities, of easy choices for people to get physical active. Sport for all, physical activity should not be like a little bit in top sport. The opportunity and the right, the human right for the good people, for the talented people, for the rich people. Sport for all, this is our dream, should be indeed accessible for everybody. And I like it very much when our friend from the Peruvian Institute, I think he was the one from the university, said that sport for all, physical activity, makes people smile and laugh, even though they might be in a very difficult situation. I saw children smiling and laughing in the slums of Lagos in Nigeria, even though they don't know what to eat in the evening or whether the parents have a job. But this is also a wonderful quality of our work. And it is open, it is inclusive for the young, for the very old, regardless of sex, race, culture, and economic conditions. But it's a big challenge. Let's be very frank. And we are not always getting full support by our governments. Steadily and constantly, governments in the world are learning how important sport for all and physical activity is. It's on the agenda. And this is good. But we still have a long way to go. And it is all about that our understanding of sport for all is a modern response to the basic human right of exercise and play. And it's not always about sport for all. The academics amongst us also realize that there is a tendency to using the word physical activity, which is a much broader approach. It's not anymore this narrow West European approach of sport, which implies, according to rules, doing it in a club, and so on. It is a much broader picture now, which implies a much larger list of opportunities how to get physical active. And I think this is a good tendency. And when we are talking about the second wave of globalization, there are good examples. The term sport for all has been translated by now in most languages of the world. We have international organizations that are in charge or working in the field of sport for all. This is new. 20, 30 years ago, there was no interest for people becoming part of an international organization. The focus was exclusively on top sports. This has definitely changed. And we have huge global events like the Olympic Day Run, the World Challenge Day, that is doing so extremely well in the Latin Americas, and unfortunately now we still do not have here with us Maria-Luisa Souza from Sao Paulo in Brazil, who is one of the mothers behind the Latin American Challenge Day. Come later. We have congresses that bring together sport for all leaders from all over the world. Yes, they are investing money to come to Lima, to share experience, to discuss, to bring the whole movement forward. We have international policies by the IOC, by the United Nations agencies, UNESCO, WHO, UNICEF. They are all now working in the field of physical activity and sport for all. It's not anymore a topic of non-governmental organizations, which is also very strong in the field of governmental organizations. And there are new partnerships between the non-governmental organizations and, for example, the United Nations agencies. This is also a new development, and I'm very much looking forward that there's also, since there's also a speaker from WHO next Thursday, who is certainly bringing us the new results when it comes to obesity and physical inactivity. And there is indeed also a real movement behind. We can distinguish various phases when we are talking about the development of sport for all on a global level. What we also increasingly find out that there is a sort of, well, I wouldn't say competition, but a sort of systematic opposition between the two systems of top sports and sport for all. They are still part of the same family, but we will see how this will develop in future. And I have just juxtaposed the different qualities of top sports and sport for all. Obviously, top sports puts its focus on competition, whereas in sport for all, participation is in the center. Top sports is very selective. Only the best, only the talented have a chance. Whereas sport for all is an excellent tool to bring people together from different races and different religions, for example. Top sport is result-oriented. Sport for all is more focusing on self-experience. So we can go through it step by step, and you will see that there are quite some differences between top sport and sport for all. And this is also reflected on a global level by the representation of organizations. We have, of course, the International Olympic Committee. We have the international sport federations like track and field, soccer, and basketball. We have Paralympic, we have Sport Accord. But there is also an increasing number of global sport for all associations coming up. And in between, we have all those organizations that have both. Like, for example, the International Council of Sport Science and Physical Education, which is focusing on top sport and on sport for all. It's an interesting situation right now on a global level, and we will see how it will all develop. We have new topics where we still have not decided or found a way where they will be included. You all see this huge development in martial arts. In Germany, for example, where martial arts only 10 years ago was so small. Now, all these martial arts are coming over, and we need to find a way how to cope with these various organizations. Traditional games and sports. We just saw this beautiful film about the canoeing in the Peruvian jungle. Yeah, who is taking care of traditional canoeing? Is it the National Peruvian Canoe or Rowing Federation? I don't know. But I just want to make you alert that there is a totally new movement coming up by the rediscovery of traditional games and sports. This is not just in Peru. This happens in Germany as well as in Korea or in other countries. People a little bit afraid by the globalization that is also taking away quite some national qualities, are very, very enthusiastic about the traditional games and sports because they are part of their national, regional, sometimes even local identity. So people need to feel a little bit at home, and traditional games is the big opportunity for that. The tendency from sport for all to physical activity is something that we need to observe. Computer-based sports. How are we treating computer-based sports? And there are many other developments. Tafisa is trying hard to work on this field. I just want to go this very, very quickly. We have a Tafisa board. We are a young organization, only established in 1991, and I'm very happy that our Vice President, Professor Rodolfo Valgoni, is today with us, but we also have Jorma Savola from Finland, who has made all the way to this country. Our major objective is to lobby sport for all internationally. We need to lobby. There are still not too many politicians and officials that know about the value of sport for all, for society, for the individual. We are organizing and providing programs, physical, practical programs, to offer people opportunities to get active. And what is even more important, we are providing platforms and networks where people can meet and exchange experiences. This is because all those organizations that are working in the field of sport for all normally do not have these budgets that Top Sport normally provides. And that's the reason why we have to be very clever and exchange good examples. What is good in Korea, for example, or in Finland, should not reinvent it in Germany or in Peru. It should be just transferred to Peru or to Germany. And I guess this is one of our major challenges in future, to find and to identify all these good practices and make them available for no charge or for just a very small charge to other countries. Because we need to work very economically. And we have quite some family members. We are very closely linked with the IOC, with WHO, with UNESCO. We have regional bodies in Europe, in Latin America, and Africa, and in the Asian region. And by now we have 270 organizations from 145 countries. So this is all about the organization, but we are only as strong as our members are. We are just sitting in Frankfurt and trying to a little bit change the world, but this can only be done with our strong members. And that's why I'm so glad that the organizers here in Peru took the opportunity to organize this event, which also will help a little bit to get forward. Just in a very brief way, where are we standing right now? We have successes, but we also have still challenges in front of us. Yes, indeed, we are growing. From a quantitative aspect, we are growing, and it is estimated by now, regardless the measurement of finding out how long, how regular people are doing physical activity, there are at least 1.5 billion people worldwide that are estimated to exercise sport for all. There's an increasing number of organizations, events, campaigns, congresses that is going on. So we are in a sector of growth. And the interesting thing is that in Sport for All, from an organizational standpoint, in all those countries where the traditional sport organization is not prepared to integrate the sport for all people, there is a tendency to establish new organizations, national sport for all organizations. And this is an interesting phenomenon. This even happens in Europe, that there are particular organizations being established that are focusing exclusively on sport for all. We have successful events and programs worldwide. We will present during the next couple of days, also during the Congress and later on through Joma Samula, a new program, the AAAC program, which in particular focuses on the community setting. We have something like the World Challenge Day. We have the World Sport for All Games that every 4 years brings together all the traditional games and sports in the world. It's the only platform of this nature, and it's all together with UNESCO and the International Olympic Committee, and it's always a wonderful festival. And we would of course also invite the canoeing people from the jungle to present their special skills there. The AAAC program we will see in a minute. Recognition. Yes, Sport for All started as a very, very little baby. Nobody seriously considered Sport for All. This has changed. Fortunately, this has changed. And now, Sport for All, physical activity is also very well respected in today's global world. Not as strong, of course, at top sport, but it has now its position. And this you can realize and recognize by a whole list of different qualities. And we also made a survey, how does Sport for All stand in a particular country. And we were surprised in how many countries there is already a special policy paper on Sport for All. In some countries it is even part of the constitution, saying it is a human right for all citizens of a country to have access to Sport for All. So this situation is getting better, but again, still a long way to go. I guess what is extremely important to focus on the many implications and qualities of Sport for All when it comes to Sport for All as a social phenomenon. Sport for All is not only beneficial for the individual, it has many good reasons why a government should introduce it to the whole society. I'll give you some examples. In all countries of the world, the health costs are exploding. Even in a rich country like Germany, the government does not know anymore how to find a way, how to change the social fabric of our insurance system, that everybody still has a rather cheap health insurance. There is a lack of understanding of those people that are different. Again, Germany is a good example. So we have to find a way to integrate people better into society. The threat of terrorism and wars. Still, different opportunities between women and men. And on it goes. And we believe Sport for All can provide at least some recipe, can provide at least some strategy to meet these challenges. Of course, if there is more prevention policy in the country, the expense of health costs will decrease. If people do sports with each other, talk to each other, then they will feel much better integrated in the society. Maybe even the risk of terrorism goes down, because when people speak to each other, they cannot fight against each other. I know this is a very simple belief, but maybe there is some little truth in this as well. And we once had a campaign in Germany where we tried to express these qualities to our citizens. For example, this obviously symbolizes you don't always need to take a medicament, a pill, just play soccer. You will get, your headache will go away. Or for example, you don't have to go to a doctor and remove the fat by plastic surgery. If you do sports, if you play soccer, it goes itself. But this also a little bit depicts the various opportunities that Sport for All can provide to help a society. But we still have challenges coming to an end. I guess we have to improve our networking opportunities. An event like this needs to be a very normal event, bringing people together from various countries to exchange, and also to form new friendships, partnerships, and alliances for the benefit of the development of Sport for All. We need more leaders in Sport for All. I guess it is a special task of any university in the world to also integrate the subject of Sport for All and physical activity. We will listen to a wonderful example from Argentina this afternoon, from River Plate. In Germany, it is still quite difficult to study at university how to organize Sport for All and physical activity. It's all about teachers at school, but we also need experts that know how to organize a Sport for All event, how to attract volunteers, how to attract sponsors and marketing companies to donate money. So this is also an appeal to the universities of the world to integrate this particular topic a little bit more than it might be right now. So we need a maximum transfer of knowledge between organizations, including utilizing best practice examples. We have this event, but it's only, as we say in German, a drop on a hot stone, a certified leadership course. We always have 4, 5, or 6 events, and we just had one in St. Vincent and Grenadines. We had one in Argentina, but it is a first try, but we need more of this sort of events. We need regional, local opportunities and qualifications to get more Sport for All leaders on the volunteer level. Otherwise, we cannot do our job. These are just some examples of these certified leadership courses. We are working right now on a 6-month semi-virtual, long-distance education in Sport for All. Because many people that are working in Sport for All have no chance to get away from the job. They don't have vacations, or just a few days. So we need also opportunities by using the modern information technologies to educate and qualify more regional and local Sport for All leaders. And we need to follow a targeted approach. It is not enough anymore to try to get society as a whole. I think to be cost efficient and working economically, we need to separate various target groups. That means to identify large and important groups, to analyze their special needs. When you are talking, for example, in Europe, we have this huge demographic change. Our societies are getting older and older. Our German society, like the Korean society, is even dying. We are losing millions of people because we do not have enough babies anymore. So we have a new target group, the seniors in Sport for All. And of course, they need different concepts than children or youngsters or adults. So this is why we need to design special programs for special target groups. And finally, we have to bridge the gap between those countries that can afford and those countries that cannot afford. And I would believe it is the responsibility of some countries to take over the lead and help other countries to develop. And the Congress that is coming will also, for example, talk about sport facilities and open spaces. I believe it is not all about standardized, expensive stadiums in the world. We also need to understand that every beach, every market square, every street can be used for sport for all. I very well remember this wonderful example from Bogota, the Ciclovia, where every Sunday between 6 and 1 o'clock, 120 kilometers of ring road is closed down for the people to cycle, to run. I know that this concept has gone to other places in Latin America as well, but this is also a very low-cost opportunity to do sports. So basically, and this is just something that brings us together, we have done a good job over the last couple of years. But our job is not yet done. We have to continue. And for that, we need these opportunities as today, since we can be getting even stronger and do a better job. So thank you very much for your attention. This is just another example how sometimes the world looks. People moving up the elevator and not using the stairs when they are entering the fitness studio. So once again, thank you very much for your attention. It was a pleasure to be with you.
Muchas gracias, señor Baumann. Muchas gracias. A continuación invitamos al señor Jorma Savola, miembro de la Junta Tafisa Finlandia, quien nos expondrá Triple AC, utilizando la ciudad para fomentar la participación en deporte para todos.
Try to concentrate to some special opportunities. Perhaps I profile growth as social innovation. However, I would like to say first many thanks for this opportunity to give words. The day before yesterday I was able to ski. We had a lot of snow in Finland. And now, this morning, it was really nice to run there, you see, at 7 a.m. and there's actually a rush hour. A lot of young and older Peruvians were running there, and the climate so is extremely pleasant from ludic point of view. Well, to the point, I describe, you see, this Tafisa Triple AC, active cities, active communities, active citizens system in terms of adapting it to the environment where we are. I mean, university and you see, scientific approach, but I try to be practical as well. Well, you see here many titles. You see, this Triple AC. Originally, it was active cities, and the starting point of this was WHO's World Health Organization's Healthy Cities program. You see, about 20 years ago, they started something like that. And I think as a result of that, there became a kind of mushrooming period of many cities globally started active city programs. And as you saw, Tafisa is pretty global, and we were able to talk about it. So city context is important, not only for health promotion, physical activity. And now really are in a way to go forward in this AAAC program. However, you see there in your left, you see Tafisa Sports City Net. I would like to call it as a booster of AAAC in terms of having 160,000 euros for the European Union. Actually, it's on our own money as well. So we are having you see a AAAC program in Europe where 11 cities are involved, and really we are doing this active city program in many ways. To say the secret why we call AAAC in Europe Sports City Net. It is based on the politics because the European Union is not financing existing program, so we had to cover this, you see, and call this Sports City Net program. So, but anyway, this message will be open, not open in Europe. So here we see when I was saying these active cities are and were global movement in terms of having no connection between each other. But Tafisa as a global organization has been able to get connection with many of those cities, and now in the beginning, you see, we were able to get these best practices and really cultural uses.However, the challenge was active city in the city of Turku, Finland. It's pretty much different compared with active city in Melbourne or active city of Liverpool and so on. So as a result of that, we had to generate a kind of global way to interpret what kind of active cities we are talking about, and we generated this integrated model where we have actually this took place in the city of Escuela, which organized this IOC Sport for Conference. So you have Professor Dr. Yamaguchi in Japan. So he was there as well. We had a workshop, and then we generated this kind of thinking, actually, where this theoretical brain behind the active city was able to generate. You see these mind titles there, physical environment, individual factors, social environment, and so on. Actually, this terminology comes from behavior modification theories. So how human being is behaving and how to influence that. So, and that is the framework which we are utilizing when we see building different active cities. Well, this was already in the table in our opening panel. You see, when you talk about how to organize, how to influence. So, in the city context, we have municipality context. We have three different approaches. This public approach, which has political decision, and then voluntary sector, people just simply do something and they are doing that. And then private sector, which is exercising money planning. So now I think certain part of Europe we have extremely strong voluntary sector. However, now when we are talking about Finland as an example, so we have seen that our sport club system is able to activate adults about 1/3 of fields. But when we are approaching this challenge so that 100% of fields ought to be there, so then we need this public sector and voluntary sector as well. So this way of approaching and combining you see, different dynamics. Political decision making in public sector, voluntary sector, then this goal setting is already there, and private sector exercising market dynamics. Well, this triangle you see here, one so that you can read what actually happens. This political climate, it's actually what is deciding what public sector is doing. And then you see this voluntary sector, a lot of us in love with football, I in basketball. So we are pretty much involved, voluntary ways to do that. Of course, as a professional, we can make it in the private sector as well. However, you see this voluntary sector is extremely important. And then private sector as well. We need all of those, and here is a little bit clumsy title in English, you see, trust sector or service multi-provider model. Anyway, you get this idea. All of those are needed. Well, and here's certain kind of let's say, global model concerning active cities, AAAC, sports city, whatever we call it. You see, namely, in the core, there is a city, and then when we are going through, you see this city context here. So in city we have, you see, this city own cross-sectoral work when we talk about different administrational sectors. Then you see the city context, there are voluntary, non-profit organizations and private commercial sectors. And then this is extremely important nowadays, for example, Europe, the social communities with organized and unorganized structure. Immigrant to Europe is pretty strong, and you see there are people who are actually not having any kind of organizations. And how to deal with them? There's only a social community, and how to deal with that. But then you see here these strategic partners. So in the municipality which is having good programs, they need these strategic partners like national governing bodies, ministry, and so on. And finally, you see these policy and resource programs, WHO, NAFISA, IOC, UNESCO, and so on. I have seen that if cities doing perfect work, so all of these three elements have to be there. Well, to continue, all of these actually are written down in this booklet. It's TAFISA internet pages and so on. You see, this story is told there, and I think that this is really useful to go through. And I have written there, in this case, Finland as well, because I come later to this, because we have pretty interesting approach when talking about, you see, this this behavior modification in terms of individual, communities, organization, and institution. So this kind of approach is interesting, and I try to show it briefly what it means. But first, you see this challenge. Wolfgang was talking about this. Actually, the concept of physical activity promotion, but what it actually is. And I feel this is extremely important picture. So this physical activity as a medicine, actually everybody needs it. Then physical exercise, go to gym or wherever you see exercise, and then sport with competition. So now it's really important to see what actually we ought to do when promoting sport with competition. Just like Germany is good in football, Finland not so good, but we are good Formula 1 drivers and good skiers and so on. So, but sport we are promoting, and every country doing that. Then this physical exercise is needed, and then this physical activity, which means that our daily life ought to have, you see, this physical impact. And now there is brand new brand new feature to this. You see, I would profile it sitting kills. According to scientific studies, if we sit more than 2 hours without a break, so it means that we are on the way to shorten our life. And for our information, you see, it means that we have to have the break every 2 hours when sitting. And this is, you see, independent factor in terms of exercising for marathon, for example, 4 times a week. So, but we also all day long sit beside that. So, sitting kills. So you see this aspect as well. Actually, what we mean when we talk about this sport, physical exercise, and physical activity, it is pretty extremely important. Well, to the point then, I call this ICOI, individual, communities, organizations, institutions, behavior modification model. This means that actually it's not individual choice to be physically active. I repeat, it's not individual choice to be physically active. The decision will be done in the communities where these human beings, in the organizations where the exercise is right, and institutions, what kind of legislation there is. Let's take, for example, I was studying in USA, and university institution in USA actually is the backbone of sports there. Some Finns went, they said, okay, now the university system had to be changed the same as they do in USA. But it's not possible, because in USA, you go to university, you have to pay pretty much money. In Finland, university is free for everybody. You don't need any money to study. And so we will get support from the society. So, and this it means that in the institutional level, nationwide, we have such a systems which actually influence a lot what kind of physically active, what kind of system we act, what kind of way of impacts on our behavior. So, and after this, communities, organizations, and institutions. So, beside that, individual is doing the job. And it's pretty tiny opportunity to make a choice. Well, the same here, a little bit more information. I used these institutions used by universities in USA and Finland. It's completely different. In my country, universities cannot be backbone sport. Then we talk about legislation. Let me tell you, in Finland, every employee is able to get 400 euros tax-free money for physical exercise. And it is paid by employer. And it's a huge amount of money. It's more money than what the government is giving to sports. So in our legislation, you see this, it really means that, so that this kind of big political decision is there. However, you see, I return again you see this model which I call this ICOI, physical behavioral modification model. So I think this is very important when we organize the community setting, you see, program. Here you see this community approach. Actually, when we talk about you see community, so according to this theory, there is communities run by social capital, and so on. There is the community, there's insiders, regulars, tourists, and strangers. So actually, you see this kind of way of recognizing communities, and so it is extremely fruitful, and we have used this in the sport club system, for example. However, there is a kind of now this is pretty academic, but it is pretty difficult to say in English. However, you see, it's very interesting that you see this when we talk about weak ties and strong ties in the community. So it seems to us that the community which has a lot of weak ties are extremely strong in terms of saying community with strong ties and few people. So you see this kind of thinking, so which way we are able to get people work together. This is interesting theory, and it works well in practice as well, and it will be adapted into practice. Well, then I want to continue actually this discussion. Francisco Ocha, he actually opened this view, and from my point of view, you see, this lifespan thinking is extremely important for recognizing how physical activity, actually how it will be generated, how it will change, and how during the lifespan, life course, it will be, you see, working. And now, for example, in European countries, in this city setting, it seems to us that it's not anymore enough to get sport organizations involved in sports. That's a system which gets about 1/3 people to be physically active. And the next picture shows you see this interesting phenomenon. Japan is actually the oldest nation globally, according to my knowledge. In Europe, Finland is the oldest nation in Europe. We have 5 million people, and 1 million of those are over 65. So, and you see here, when we look at you see this physical activity during lifespan. So, in the beginning there, it's a joy and growth, plays and games. Here, competition, sports, and so on. And then when we go to the work life, then health and well-being and physical exercise. And finally, you see this, we approach retirement age, there is active age and care age. So during the lifespan, physical activity, physical exercise and sports, it's really changing a lot. And now I return to see this basic view. It's not anymore enough if and when you see we are dealing here, and but we have to have cooperation programs in the municipality setting with private sector, voluntary sector, and especially this city municipality management is having a big challenge. Well, here you see a kind of rehearsal. Actually, this is one opening. I visited for 5 days in city of Liverpool and was able to go through in which way they are organizing the active city. And it's really, you see, this physical activity seems to be built in. And all the part of the programs and organization what city of Liverpool is doing. And then it's really, we talk about this, the chain. Earlier they were organized so that even alien of the space can come and have good service in the university. But those university people there, they are not aliens. And they don't come to space, they come to school and they are going to the work life. And you see this kind of flow is extremely important. I see that this is really big opportunity to management leadership to utilize this way of thinking, what they in Liverpool are doing. Okay, finally, actually, this would have been, you see, the starting point when if I would have been talking to city administrators. But now when we are here in university, so you see, this is actually the backbone of AAAC program. It's when we organize programs, so as a result of this scientific analysis and so, we need there 5 different key success areas. You see, knowledge and awareness, cross-sectoral communication, infrastructure development, then programs, interventions, and planning, and so on. And for your information, that we Tafisa World Congress in Enschede this October, we have their workshop where you see these sport CityNet cities are coming and showing what kind of programs, what kind of systems they have in these different 5 key success areas. And we are focusing to have European city network, and Tafisa in the global system is focusing to the same objective as well. Well, finally, I want to show you this interesting system, which is actually, for example, this was presented by Sami Kokko, healthy Stadia. City of Manchester Football Club organized a couple of weeks ago. You see this kind of program where soccer clubs are involved in how they work with cities, and you see this sport club activity